Домовлялись сторони про ceasefire.
We've had agreements about ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia has been always breaking all the agreements and has been killing our people. So only if it's on some international forum in the presence of the countries, leaders who are trusted. They might have different ideas, different views on the stages how this war will be over, but we all have to be on the same side. We have to trust each other. Trust is very important. The Peace Summit, by the way, has shown that we can follow this plan. Over 100 countries were there, and today we're talking about their nuclear security and energy security, and there will be a clear plan. So the ceasefire also needs a clear plan. We must understand that Russia would not be using ceasefire to simply accumulate equipment on the territory, our territory that they've occupied, because we will not be striking them. I mean, they can use that to create a strong fist here and then accuse us of breaking the ceasefire and start another invasion. So it's really complicated for us. It would take a significant loss for us if they invade again, as in the beginning of 2022, when they have almost reached the capital city. And they accumulated a lot of equipment on the territory of Belarus. And Belarus kept saying that, no, it's just the exercise. No occupation is in mind. It's just the training. It's just military games. It's very important. I really don't want to have this big trouble for my country, because we are at war already. Giving the advantage to Russia now, it's just impossible. We need to be smart. And it's important also who will be responsible for this, besides the Ukrainians who are paying with their lives. Which country will be responsible? It's easy to just talk about ceasefire, but it's very difficult to enforce it, to keep it. It's very difficult to find those who will respond why the ceasefire
But we're going to see
broken.
more calls for a ceasefire, especially as the world politically is moving to the right and potentially moving to the right in the United States. You have said this war is dependent on U.S. aid. I want to ask you, did you watch the presidential debate between Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump?
Передусім.
So, first and foremost, the ceasefire is an important element in any plan to finish the war. So, a ceasefire is not finishing the war. We've been there. It would be just a frozen conflict. And it would be frozen for the aggressor, because it would be frozen on our territory, and our people would be under the occupation. This gives a clear advantage to one side. That's why it's easy to offer different proposals of ceasefires. But what's important? It's important to find answer what would come after. It's the matter of not just the victory. There are many people talking about ceasefire, and it's fine that people are talking, but what would happen next? That is the question. For example, what's the next step? What's the third step? What would be the step when Putin breaks the ceasefire? After the ceasefire, a month after the ceasefire, will he pull out the troops out of Ukraine? Who guarantees that he will pull the troops out of the occupied territories? And there's silence. Nobody has answer. I'm not accusing. I just want to explain that we are at war and we understand this. So, the debates.
Well,
I saw
because
debates.
the answer of how this might all unravel will depend on also who's at the table from the United States.
І, зокрема, буде залежати.
Amongst other things, it might depend on who is the president of the US. Yes, that's a fact. Because the US, the United States of America, today are probably the most powerful player. So the matter whether the United States would be the major international player, whether they want that or they want to focus more on their internal politics. I cannot say. It doesn't depend on me.
So did you watch the debate?
То чи ви дивилися? Yes, I watched the debates. So first and foremost, I want to say, I don't know, maybe it would be out of tune to what we see in the US media, but I watched, and we are not electing the president of the US, so I didn't look at the incumbent president and the former president. I looked at them in terms of Ukraine.
President Trump said he'll end the war before he's elected.
Yeah, I heard
What do you
it.
make of that?
Я скажу чесно.
Let me be frank.
Давайте, наприклад, це вирішує.
For example, well, the decision is on US public. But let me just have some reasoning. Так, але для вас це важливо.
Ну, давайте уявимо,
Yes. So let us imagine that the winner might be Trump in November.
як закінчити війну.
And he knows how to end the war. He has a plan.
Я, як президент війни,
Me, as the president of a country at war, not a theoretical person, but a real-life person, I would like to be prepared.
мільйонів, ми дуже велика.
We are 40 millions. We're a big country, and we really depend on the aid from the world. And we depend on the aid and the position and the stance of the US. So I would like to understand, what would it mean to finish war fast? Tomorrow, do we want the war to be over tomorrow? We didn't the war even to start. It was Putin who started it. But I hope you agree that it would be fair. If Trump knows how to end this war, he should tell us today, because
Якщо там є
if
ризики,
there are risks to Ukraine's independence,
ризики, що
if there are risks that we will lose the statehood, we want to be prepared for this. We want to understand whether in November we will have the powerful support of the US or we'll be all alone.